It's real simple of a theory, but I mean, basically, you have, a theory is, the evolution is a theory.
Evolution.
Agree on that.
No, we won't all agree. Hang on just a second. We need to get a link up. We need to get a link up to notjustatheory.com. First of all, evolution is a fact. It is an observation that's demonstrable. Now, you can go on with the thing.
And what you've described, to some extent, is a hypothesis, which is basically, in scientific terms, the hypothesis is when you come up with an idea, you haven't tested it, you don't know if it's true or not. A theory in science is basically a well-tested framework which has been confirmed repeatedly and has survived a lot of scientific scrutiny.
It is the highest possible achievement of science, a theory.
Right, and there's a misunderstanding that theory means something that's not a fact yet, which is not true. Theories and facts are different kinds of things. Facts are things that are observed, but theories are frameworks that explain the observed facts to the best possible abilities of the current scientific research. And in that sense, yes, evolution is a theory. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah, but in the same sense, if you're talking like that, the fact that we were created with order and design, that's a fact.
No, it's not.
I'm afraid not.
Sure it is. I mean, even the new evidence of how a gene is not just some one cell organism
that's not new evidence. That's been known for a long time.
It's not been known. As a matter of fact, the lady who had just recently proven that within a gene there's multiple machines that do jobs like push things around and pick up things and kill things, and each machine is designed for a specific use within that one
I object to your use of the word design.
Me too.
Assumption.
You're claiming that the fact that we are designed and this is a fact. And I'm saying, no, it's not a fact, and no matter how many times you assert it, doesn't make it a fact. The true observation is that within the cell, there are chemical machines that perform functions. From that, you cannot infer design. You need to demonstrate design. So creation is not a fact.
Sure, just like
No, it's not.
It's not a fact.
No, evolution, the fact that change
Creation
is
isn't
a
even
fact.
theory, is the point.
But creation isn't
might adapt. Okay, but
creation is not a fact. It's not a theory. It barely qualifies as a hypothesis. You're asking the wrong questions. The fact that we exist does not demonstrate that we were in fact designed by higher intelligence. That's something you have to prove and not simply assert.
well, nobody has proved evolution, and you guys want.
No. Evolution is an observable fact. The theory of evolution is the best scientific explanation that fits that fact, that is accepted. You're trying to claim that we were created and this is a fact. It's not. You need to demonstrate that, and you can come up with a theory, as people like Dembski or Behe have, about intelligent design. The problem is that when these guys come up with these theories, they just don't hold water. They don't prove anything. They come up with irreducible complexity, and yet at every turn when they say, oops, this is irreducibly complex, somebody comes along and shows how it's not.
But the Finch that started the whole evolutionary theory,
Actually, and I'll let you get back to it, but evolution was hypothesized long before Darwin. Way back.
Darwin only came up with a mechanism which turned out to have stood up to scrutiny.
The ancient Greeks had already hypothesized that we were descended from earlier organisms.
but go ahead. It might have been before Darwin, but it was never considered such a serious religion until Darwin.
It's not a religion now.
Serious religion.
It's not a religion now, and this time I did actually hang up on you. Because if you're going to come on here having no knowledge of what we're actually discussing and having a significant failure of understanding with regard to what a scientific theory is, and make claims that evolution is just a theory, creation is a fact, evolution is a religion, you don't get any more time on the show. Sorry. Visit Doc Origins. The answer's there. You can feel free to email us, tv@atheist-community.org. I'll be happy to have a discussion with you. But you don't get to come on here and spread the footnote soundbite versions directly from the Discovery Institute that simply aren't true.
Right. I mean, you know, the reason, and I know we sometimes seem a little abrupt to people who haven't seen the show before, but if you go back and watch back episodes, you'll see that we address a lot of this stuff every week. Sometimes we have entire shows discussing, discussing that issue. And, you know, there's a certain amount of knowledge that, you know, that is just on such a basic level that sometimes we just wave people off to the facts.
Yeah, there's an FAQ up the website. You go to www.atheisttalkcommunity.org. For more information about evolution, you can go to talkorigins.org, where, I kid you not, every objection and every claim and every comment that he just said is addressed, and way more. There's a good response to nearly any creationist claim. What you've done is you might as well just come on here and say the Earth is flat, this is a fact, and those who say that it's round just have a theory. You don't understand what scientific theories are. The theory of gravitation is a scientific theory. The fact that gravity exists, something we label, there's an attraction that bodies have, that's a fact. It's observable, and evolution's the same way. I highly recommend that you go to not just a theory, it's either .org or .com, you'll find it. It's about 5 paragraphs, it's really short, it explains this in great detail, and I fail to see how anybody who reads something like that just couldn't get it.
Anyway, this is a problem with doing a multi-part series over 6 months because, these are exactly the kind of issues that I talked about specifically in previous installments of my evolution talk.
Except that Bill has been watching for those and called during those as well. I'm pretty sure that Bill's seen it. He's just spouting whatever it is that he believes without doing anything or showing it himself.
Right. But, I mean, there's a misconception out there that there is some kind of scientific controversy over whether evolution happened or not. And the fact is, there's not.
Yeah. There's
a bunch of people with a religious agenda who don't like the implications that evolutionary theory has for their religion. But within science, within people who actually study biology, there is, all but a very, very, very tiny percentage of people actually recognize that evolution is the explanation for the diversity of life.
Hey, you're watching Atheist Experience. They've got new credits that pop up over our show on occasion. But there's a lot of conversation going on at the different events, and people are welcome to come down. If you're not interested in coming down, or if you don't get through in the television show, you can also email tv@atheist-community.org. That email goes to myself, the co-host, some of the people behind the scenes. And while we cannot promise to respond to everything, we will certainly try and read everything. The reason that we can't promise to respond to everything is that the audio portion of this show, as well as the Nonprofits podcast, is available for download. And the video portion of this show is now being uploaded to Google Video, and we have evidently, a couple of years, maybe 3 years worth of video that's already up there, and more on the way, which means now, our audience is international, which is cool because I've gotten emails from all over the world and I've started marking them on a map. Or I've claimed that I've started marking them on a map. Mostly I'm keeping it so that I can mark them on that map. But so we love hearing from everybody. If you've got corrections or comments, feedbacks, criticism, ideas for show topics, ideas for show music, feel free to email tv@atheist-community.org.
So you're saying not only are they multinational, but they're now intertemporal in the sense that they are writing to us from the past about shows that we did like 3 years ago.
Yeah, and that's a good point to mention. I've said a number of times that we're not only willing but happy to get information, corrections, and I'll correct anything that I've said in error on the show or an email or whatever else as we can. But don't write me about a show that happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and say, you said this, and I think it's wrong, because while I'll happily discuss it, I have. There were some comments made about, you said that in God we trust didn't appear on money until the 50s, and I think that's not quite what I said, but in any case, it's not really worth going back in time to 2 years ago. If you catch me within a couple weeks, we can correct it.
If I could go back in time to 2 years ago, correcting fiddling little errors on a show wouldn't be my first course of action.
Yeah.
Investing in something would.
Oh, so you're just greedy.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're going to talk about that a little bit more on some other